What is up guys, I am finally back and I'm proud to announce that this is my very first UEFN practice map. But trust me, all those months of waiting for a new map is going to be worth it. So let's get right into it. Alright, so as soon as you load up into the lobby, you will see a massive weapon wall with pretty much every single gun in the game, including the brand new weapons that you can mod with the mod bench. You can put whatever attachments you would like, and then once you're done, you can just come over here to the green button, save your loadout, and that will save your entire loadout, including the attachments on the weapons. And then on the other side of the weapon wall, we do have some special items here that you can also test out. And right next to the mod weapons, we will also have some explosive items so you can practice throwing them. And since there is also a PvP area in this map, you can also pick up these healing items. And once you find yourself going to the actual PvP area, you will see even more items that you can use for mobility, including this new Chain of Hades item, and some extra items right here as well. Fortnite has also updated the hand cannon and the drum guns so you can test those new ones out as well. This map does support 3 players, so you can practice along with your friends or compete with each other's scores. And depending on how many targets you eliminate while playing this map, you can also earn ranks. If you do achieve Unreal, please DM me on Twitter or Instagram and I can add you to this leaderboard right here. Alright, so getting to the actual map itself, we have 3 ranges, so we got the standard, the 360, and free play areas. So starting off with the standard section, you will see this massive wall of settings that is completely customizable, and by default this is what it will look like. And now this is like the best part of the map, because with all these settings you can create like 100 different types of scenarios, which is insane. So for example, let's start off with gliders. You can make them glide. Let's say you wanted more of like a Kovac style target, you can do that as well. You can change the distance, instant reload, that way you don't have to worry about reloading. Got obstacles, damage multipliers. So for example, if you want to practice more on your tracking, you can do a 0.5 multiplier and it'll take longer to kill these enemies. Or let's say you just want to do like a tap and shoot, so one shot, you can do the 4 multiplier and it'll take 1 shot to kill each target, for most weapons at least. Then you also have different background options just so it can help you see the targets a little bit better, and there's 3 of these as well. You can time yourself with a 30 or 60 second timer, and you can just press this to reset your score. You can also make the targets to be static so they don't move at all, or double speed or regular walking speed. Now one of my favorite features is actually the first person camera, so you can turn on this first person camera like this. Now keep in mind, this first person is not like an official setting that Fortnite has released, so it's not perfect. For example, when you're aiming upwards you can kind of see it glitches out, but for the most part, if you're just aiming straight like this, it's pretty good. And with scope weapons, it unfortunately doesn't work as well, because when you scope in, there's just no scope and crosshairs, so I would recommend removing the scope if you are going to use the first person mode. And my favorite setting is probably the strafe platform, just because this adds a bit more realistic aim practice. And the best part about the strafe platform is that it doesn't just move straight left and right, which makes aiming a bit more unpredictable, which is what would occur in a real game. You never know which way your opponent might move. So this is far better than just having a static left and right movement. Now once you move on to the 360 area, you will have very similar settings, only slight adjustments. So for the 360, it's actually going to be height rather than distance. So you can put it on the ground, medium where I'm at right now, or high. Where the strafe platform is also a little bit different here, where instead of going left and right, we're going up and down. And this is also very good for glider practice. And if you combine the right settings, you can get a very solid glider practice. Now later in the video, I will show you a combination of settings that you can use for each range that will maximize your aim training. Now let's say you turned on a bunch of these settings and you don't want to have to manually go back and reset all of them. All you have to do is press the top right reset setting button, and that'll put everything back to default. And finally, we have the free play area, which is pretty self-explanatory. You actually go inside of here fighting with the bots, and you're also allowed to build in this area against the bots, so if that's what you prefer, or if you prefer zero build, you can add obstacles to the map and practice like that as well. The only difference with the free play setting is that you can turn on and off health regen, which is basically siphon. Let me turn off the weapons before they get annoying. But yeah, you can also disable the weapons, so if you don't want to have to deal with them shooting back at you and you just want to practice your mechanics, you can do that. You can increase the target count all the way up to 8, just like that. And you can also choose how the builds reset if you are building, so you can put never, every 60 seconds, or after every kill. There is also a PvP area on the back side of the map where you and your friends can battle it out, and you can do a free-for-all up to 3 as you can see here, or you can do like a 1v2 situation. You can do pretty much anything you want in the PvP area. Now if you made it this far into the video, there is a little secret to gain XP, which is these targets right here. If you shoot all 15 of them around the map, you will get an XP award. Alright, so starting with range 1, I'm going to show you guys what my favorite settings are to practice with. So for any of the ranges, I always prefer to put instant reload on, and I also prefer the Kovac style targets, the strafe platform, obstacles, the fastest movement speed, and the blue grid background. Now this is just my personal preference, but this is probably one of my favorite ways to practice using range number 1. And depending on which weapon I want to practice with, I'll go close for shotguns and pistols for example, and then ARs and snipers maybe mid and far range. And sometimes I find that the targets may not move a whole lot for me and it feels kind of easy, and that's when I turn on gliders, which adds another layer of difficulty to these targets. If you are going to go for sniper shots, I would recommend the regular target style, that way you can try to practice lining up headshots. Alright, now moving on to 360, as always with the instant reload on, gliders and strafe, fastest movement speed, and I also like to put the multiplier to 0.5, that way I can practice a bit more tracking. And I would also recommend using the SMG for this. And for those of you that didn't know, you can actually get 100% accuracy if you use the Thunderburst with the laser sight, which means that you have to be really precise to hit your shots. Alright, now moving on to free play. This one is kind of personal preference, honestly. Depending on if you're trying to practice with builds or 0 builds, the settings might differ a little bit here. I personally like using around 3 to 4 targets, having the enemy weapons on, health regen on as well. Now if you want to practice your peaks, I would take health regen off, that way if you do take damage you will actually